We're the largest snacking company in the world.
That everyone in the business is a leader and have a role to play.
So it just naturally made sense that, my career would progress.
And I wish someone had told me when I was in high school that that was an option.
It's all about maintaining relationships and
have such a wide array of academic backgrounds in the CCAS.
A strong network of women here to help you.
Well, hey guys. So today we're joined by Daniel, who is going to chat to us about his experience doing a gap year for the Royal Australian Air Force. Thank you so much for joining us today.
That's so good. It's great to be here.
So firstly, what made you choose a gap year after completing year 12?
Yeah, so pretty much doing the gap year was a sort of good taster for the Australian Defence Force life as in general. Finished school and I worked for a year or two. Then decided, let's give it a go, give the ADF a go. And the 12 months, it's good. It's the only committed for 12 months. If it's not for you, it's not for you. At the end of the day, if you love it, you get to stay on. So that's the main reason why I've done the gap year. Yeah.
And so what appealed to you about taking a gap year at the Royal Australian Air Force? Have you always been interested in that side of things?
Yeah, so I'm quite aviation minded. So I grew up doing the Air Force Cadets program. So done that as a kid and worked through that and got a good exposure, you could say, to the Air Force itself. That was the main thing that appealed to the Air Force was those ones. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And so what sort of opportunities have you had or did you have during the gap year?
Yeah, so I had a fair few opportunities, of course, doing the ADF, made lots of new friends, which is terrific. And some of those friends are lifelong now because you do spend so much time with them and build those friendships. You learn a lot of new skills as well, which is really, really good. And opportunities, you could say. So I was lucky enough, I got posted down to Victoria as part of my gap year program, and I was involved in the AFL Grand Final in 2019. So I got to do some volunteer work with that, which was quite amazing to have 100,000 people there, which that's,
awesome. That's so cool. And what sort of training did you undergo during your gap year program?
Yep, so training for the gap year program. So first off, you go down to one recruit training unit at Wagga. So that's your initial recruit training where they pretty much teach you how to be an airman for the Air Force side of things. So getting up early, making your bed, which is the most important thing. If you make your bed straight off the bat, it means you've accomplished something already. And just going through your weapons and your marching as well, because marching is a big thing in the Air Force. Once you've finished out Wagga, you go up to Amberley at the Security and Fire School, and you get to learn your trade. So my job is Air Force security. So conducting flight line patrols and ensuring that the security of the base itself is up to its standard. But, yeah.
Did you choose that? Like, is that what you were particularly interested in, or do you get sort of assigned something in particular?
Yeah, so I chose Air Base Protection, or Air Force Security now, as it's called, because I thought it was a really interesting role.
Yeah.
Due to it's a bit more of the physical side of things. So we get to go bush every now and again and go wander around the bush and do some navigation and camping and weapons and everything. So that sort of excited me.
Fun.
And also the domestic side of it as well. So working actually within the airbase, looking at all the aircraft, ensuring that they're all secure. So, yeah.
Oh, it sounds awesome. And so what did you love most about the gap year experience?
I think the thing that really stood out to me looking back now is the friendships that I made. The time when we're on course was probably one of the best times of my life because you got to interact with everybody every single day. You get to hang out when on your days off and everything as well. So looking back, definitely the friendships would be by far the best thing about it for me.
Yeah, awesome. And then what made you stay on? So you've completed your gap year, and then what made you want to stay on after gap year?
Yeah, so I completed my gap year at the end of 2019. And the reason I stayed on is that it's such a good job. So you get really looked after in the Air Force, you get all the benefits, free medical and dental, it's an active lifestyle. You get to see Australia. So last year, due to the COVID pandemic, I got put on Operation COVID Assist. So I got to go down to the Victorian border for 6 weeks and got to make new friends and I'll say, connect with the greater Air Force, because there were people there which were all over Australia. We all went there and worked together, which that was really rewarding, giving back to the community. It's a fun job. I actually really enjoy it. So that's the main reason I stayed on.
Oh, awesome. And even if you had decided that perhaps you didn't want to stay on, what sort of skills did you learn that you think would have benefited you just in a general sort of future career path?
Yep. So you've learned many skills in the Air Force. Teamwork's probably one of the biggest things, because in the real world and the defence world, teamwork is huge. Even if you play sport on the weekend, you got to be in a team. If you do play team sports, and the Air Force is one big team. Yeah. So you learn that very quickly, that it's not all about yourself. It's about the whole team as the greater picture. Yeah. I guess another thing as well is initiative. And so you get to learn that you've got to do things yourself. Like, not everything's really handed to you on a platter, you could say. So you got to work. And another thing is independence as well. So I still lived with mum and dad when I joined the gap year program. As I'd imagine a lot of people still would when they do join the program, with people being 18, 19, 20-ish. Yeah. So learning those skills about, I don't know, feeding and cleaning yourself, I guess, is quite huge, and they'll take you a long life, obviously. But yeah,
exactly. And what kind of gap year experiences and roles are available within the Royal Australian Air Force? Like, you obviously did sort of like the security side of things, but what other roles are available?
Yeah, so there's a number of roles which you can do as gap year in the Air Force. So they start with administrative assistant. So being a bit of a clerk and helping people get all their paperwork done, and being an admin pretty much, which is great for the real world. If you were to Air Force not be for you, you can go out in the real world and work in an office, I guess. Yeah. You've also got cabin crew or crew attendant, which is a really fun job from what I've heard. You get to travel the world, and
so cool. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I've actually got a few friends that do that, and they love their job, which is terrific. Yeah. You've also got Airfield Defence Guard, which is very similar to my job in Air Force Security, but they're a bit more of the green role. So they'll go bush and go navigation and patrolling and everything, which is also very exciting. Warehouse store person, so logistics. Again, another skill which you can take straight into the real world if it's not for you. Yeah. And also the warehouse store person's a very exciting role, because you get to see what the Air Force actually uses in regards to equipment and everything. Yeah. And then you've also got aviation support technician. So if you're that technically minded person, you get to work on all the aircraft and see how they fly pretty much, which is quite amazing, because it's a big piece of metal that somehow doesn't fall out of the sky. So it's good to learn the insides and outs of all that. But so they're the roles that the Air Force offers as a gap year.
Yeah, so fun. It'd be hard to choose.
It is, there's a lot to choose from. So yeah.
And so why would you recommend to students out there listening, or people out there listening, why would you recommend a gap year in the Royal Australian Air Force?
Yeah, the gap year, it's great. So you make, as I said before, you make all your long friends, you got all the benefits, and it's a good break from school. Because I know myself, I didn't want to go study straight away, after school, because you do work quite hard in your 11 and 12 to get those results, and it's a nice little break, and you get paid for your break, which is always good as well. So, and you do have that option. If you do your 12 months and you get, I still love this, you can go reserves and do work part-time in the Air Force and still continue with your studies if that's what you want to do in your in the end goal, I guess. But
so many different options. And what advice would you give to students who are thinking about doing an Australian Defence Force gap year?
Yeah, so advice that I would give is to jump on defencejobs.gov.au and go through the profiles of each job, because that's got every single bit of information that you require. Or even pop in to your local recruiting and ask somebody, because they're more than happy to help you. There's also a contact centre you can give a call as well. But learn as much as you can about the roles, and that'll help you in the long run.
Yeah, nice. And obviously, if students are listening and they want to find out more, where should they head?
Yep, so jump on defencejobs.gov.au. As I said, that's got every single job that is offered in the Australian Defence Force and all the information that you can get, and it's all there for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Daniel. It sounds like an awesome opportunity to do a gap year with the Defence Force in general, but particularly the Air Force sounds like a super cool job. So we really appreciate your time, and thanks for joining us.
That's so good. Anytime.